Morning to you. I want to show off the new cap they sent me, Cowboys from Christ. And I'm not really a cap guy, but the sun's been so brutal to my face and my ears over the years that I always wore a cowboy hat. But I would wear this. I would wear this. So I want to talk about last night. I had a piece of metal in my hand. About 10 years ago, I was beating out a bearing and it shot out and right into my hand. And it had been in there for a long time, but it now just started really bothering me. Like I'd be driving, and all of a sudden it was just pointed and sharp, so it just cut. It always felt like it was cutting into my hand. So last night I dug it out, and it came to me, that man, there's things in our lives that maybe we've carried for a long time, and have caused us discomfort, but we've gotten so used to them that we just allow them to go on and on and on. And sometimes it's sin, sometimes it's things that just are not good for us. And it reminds me of a story out of 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 38. And there was a famine in the land. And the school of prophets were all running around. And what's it like to be in a school of prophets? Like, what's the weather going to do? Well, it's going to be dry. And just to be with that type of people and continually living together. But anyway, one of the servants went out to go out and get herbs from the field to make a stew. And so he went out and gathered up, and it said like he filled his whole garment full of it. And he came back and he dumped it in the stew. And so all the prophets came in and they were eating. And one of them says, "Oh, there's death in the pot," and it was poison. It was actually poison. And I always get a picture of, I have a psychological allergy to coconut. And one time Tina and I went to my niece's where you eat and then they do a concert. And so we were sitting there and I seen somebody I hadn't talked to in a long time. So I just got to visiting. And my wife was sitting beside me in a table, and I wasn't paying attention. And they served up this big, beautiful cake, and it just looked so good. And my wife kind of nudged everybody. She says, "Watch this." And she knew I wasn't paying attention, and so I grabbed it. And while I was talking, I took a bite of that cake, and all of a sudden it got right here and stopped. And I realized, that's coconut. That's coconut. Ah! And everybody in my throat was trying to throw it back out, and everybody at the table was giggling. And I thought, my wife, some hot shot. But anyway, they realize that there's poison in the pot, and they're gonna die. And Elisha, he comes and puts flour into that pot and neutralizes the poison. And I thought, that's so true. Even in politics, and you look at even the guy they have standing up there, but a lot of times, there's poison in the pot, and you don't see that part of it. And there's people behind them or things behind them that aren't so good. And I thought, that's the same way with people in our lives, or things in our lives that, man, we can put on the best smile, we can put on the best show and make everybody believe that we're okay, and yet there's poison in the pot, and it's actually killing us. Could be a relationship, could be an addiction, could be whatever it is. And you realize that, man, sometimes we need flour poured into the pot. And I thought, isn't that amazing? Because the main ingredient in bread is flour. And Jesus said, I'm the bread of life. And when we eat on him, and figuratively speaking, of course, but that constantly feeding our mind and our soul and the things of God and of Jesus, how it neutralizes that poison, actually takes it completely away. And I thought, that's really a gift of God that because we can be poisoned so easy, and we've seen people, we know the end result, and we've seen people that are resentful and bitter, and they've allowed that poison to fester and stay in their system and stay with them, that it begins to even change their physical appearance and actually changes them, that they're not kind people anymore. So, and that's something I just really feel like, maybe there's something, that's in your life, or something has been holding you back for a long time, and now it's time. It's time. You know, I had an addiction for years upon years upon years, and I knew it wasn't doing me any good. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's just like one day, this don't fit you no more. It's got to go. And at that time, you know, I'll tell you, that bread of life, Jesus Christ, man, I had to ingest as much as I could to overcome. And I want to encourage you with that you keep feeding on Him, on His Word, and on meditating on His Word, and keeping that prayer life going between you and Him, because there's some things that need to come out. So God bless you.